get Jeff. And Jeff is calling in now, see? I was just anxious. There's Jeff. Jeff Dunnitz. How are you doing, my friend?
I was just practicing my sword dance. Hava, Nagila Hava.
I didn't realize they sang that in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah, it's a big favorite.
Yeah, I'll bet.
You forget. We control the governments.
I did forget that. And
actually,
yes.
I think that the reason why the two reporters weren't allowed in is because they did have Israel stamps on their passport, not necessarily because they were Jewish.
Well, I think that they were warned ahead of time not to send any Jewish reporters. I remember that being discussed last week. But, yeah, I mean, I would have difficulty getting into Saudi Arabia with this passport. I'd have to get a fresh passport. Yeah, well,
and it's not just Saudi Arabia. We had a friend that his daughter got married in the United Arab Emirates, and we didn't go because we didn't want to get new passports.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that, but I mean, you can do that, but it's a huge pain, and it's I don't think it's worth it. So I wasn't all that anxious.
Well, that you kind of feel like icky doing it.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I would feel a little strange. I would feel a little strange doing that. Yes. So all right. So Trump has left. By the way, we should note how Trump got to Israel, right? Because this was a first.
Big deal.
It was a big deal. It was the first direct flight, I think, ever.
The first public one. There have been secret ones.
Secret ones. First one in public from Riyadh to Tel Aviv.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yes. You know, the Saudis and the Israelis have been working together for, well, maybe a year behind the scenes because, you know, that was one of Obama's achievements. He brought Israel and Saudi Arabia together to fight Iran.
Right, because America wasn't doing it, yes.
Right. Well, you know what? And I think that set the tone in Saudi Arabia, at least, that, you know, Obama had shifted away from the Sunni states to Iran, which was a Shia state.
Yeah.
And Trump shifted back because our traditional allies, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, were all Sunni states.
And with one exception, the Muslim nations that were at the peace summit in Riyadh were all Sunni nations, with one exception, which was Iraq, which is a majority Shiite nation, but Iraq needed to be there.
The leadership is Sunni, and they kind of beat up on the Shias.
Well,
kind of not sectarian violence.
Kind of not. I mean, the reason why they're able to take Mosul is because of the Shiite militias that they're using to do it with. And so, yeah, it's a very fine line for the Iraqis, but they were there. And
absolutely,
yeah, it was definitely and you were right to pick up on this. It was definitely a restatement of American foreign policy back along the Sunni axis. And
yes,
yeah,
and I think also, you know, when he got to Israel, besides the first of being the first at the wall, also known as the Kotel, which is what I call it, the first of that slide that the White House had that said Jerusalem, comma Israel.
Yeah, that was interesting. Explain that, because I haven't. I'm featuring that in my post, but that's coming up later in the afternoon. Explain that. What?
Well, if you need the picture, you can grab it from me.
I did.
Okay.
I already stole it from you, Jeff. Come on.
The United States has never officially recognized that Jerusalem is part of Israel, which is totally strange, because I could understand if they said Jerusalem on the other side, you know, Old City.
Yeah.
That was captured in 1967. But they never endorsed that even the New Jerusalem, which is the western side of the city, was ever Israel. And that's why we've never had the embassy in Jerusalem. But they had a slide yesterday at the beginning of the press conference with Netanyahu and Trump that said, beginning shortly, President Trump gives remarks with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and on the bottom it said Jerusalem, comma, Israel.
Yeah,
which
is interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
You
But
have to wonder if it was deliberate, though. I mean, I wonder if that was deliberate or if somebody just assumed and put that into the slide.
they don't assume things like that.
You wouldn't
That's not,
think. You wouldn't think.
I mean, if an American was born in Jerusalem, and wanted to put place of birth in their passport and it said Jerusalem, Israel, they won't take it. Our State Department. There was a whole court case about that. So, and I think that if you listen to the things that Trump said yesterday. Trump said a lot of great things. If you're a fan of Israel,
Yes.
And I have to be honest, I was ready to blast him because I was very upset that he didn't keep the promise of moving the embassy.
Did you really expect him to do that, though? Because I didn't expect him to do that.
I didn't expect him to do it right away, but I expected him to signal it, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I just assumed that he was mouthing off just for the sake of mouthing off.
But you see, the thing is that everybody mouths off at the AIPAC convention, but he kept saying it.
True.
Over
yes.
and over. And when he appointed Friedman said, I'm going to be really happy representing the United States when we move the embassy to Jerusalem.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was, but some of the things that Trump said today, like when he talked about the Kotel being part, I call it the Kotel, the Western Wall.
Wall, right. I know what you mean, but maybe some of the viewers wouldn't.
Right, that's why being part of the Jewish people's heritage for thousands of years, and how, Jerusalem being the sacred city ever since the days of King David. Now, those two things, the Palestinians don't recognize.
Right.
Okay.
It's interesting.
They don't believe that Solomon ever had, temples on the Temple Mount.
It's the reason why they don't allow excavations. It's the reason why they don't allow
It's
the reason why they don't allow excavations around the Temple Mount, or very rarely do they allow excavations around the Temple Mount because they don't want people coming back with archaeological evidence that says, oh yeah, this actually was the Solomonic Temple Mount.
Well, actually, that's why they have something called the Temple Dig Project. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I think I have heard of this. Yeah.
But what they did a couple of years ago is they had to dig something, create something on the Temple Mount. And they just took all the dirt and threw it out. But they threw it out in the same place.
Yes.
So archaeologists go there, and they've been doing it for years. They go through it, and they find things.
Yeah. But I mean, the Muslims
from the King Hezekiah and things like that.
But the Muslims don't want digging around the Temple Mount area. That was my point. But yes.
And it's interesting because at certain points, neither do the Israelis, and I'll tell you why. When you were in Israel, did you go to the Temple Mount?
Yes.
Did you
all
go
3
to
times.
underneath part?
I did not. I think I might have. I mean, I know I was at the wall all 3 times I was in Jerusalem. 3 times? 3 times or 4 times?
Let me tell you something.
But I don't think I ever went to the underground part.
The underground part, which is where you see the bottom of the wall and stuff like that, there's a spot where there used to be a synagogue, believe it or not, under the Temple Mount.
Oh, really?
And they found someone, a nut who was going to dig all the way under the mosque and blow up the mosque so it would collapse.
Great.
And
yeah,
right,
that'd be useful.
Right. So Israel actually sealed off the synagogue, and it's all concreted up.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Well, you can understand why they don't. You can understand why they wanted to stop that from happening, though. That would. Yeah, immediate war would ensue from that.
And I think that the difference between Israel and the Arabs, even when Jordan took control of it for all those years from 49 to 67, is that Israel takes care of everybody's holy sites.
Right.
Christian, Muslim, whatever. As a matter of fact, once, where Trump went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, there's a mosque right next to it.
Yes, there is.
I don't know if, right?
Yep.
But when they first built the mosque, the Arab Wave, which is the group that maintains the holy sites in Jerusalem for the church. And obviously Israel didn't let that happen. But
Yeah.
Israel, it's important to Israel not just because keeping everybody's holy sites is important to any real democracy, but also if they show that they can't take care, then they lose their reason for controlling Jerusalem.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah. Because it's a stewardship.
The other, people are saying that Trump was echoing today what he said in Saudi Arabia, but with this paragraph. But what he was really doing, he was really slapping at the Palestinian territories, at Abbas, because the Palestinians, one of the issues is they give ransom or they pay the families of terrorists who end up in Israeli jails or who get killed. And they also name parks and stadiums and whatever against terrorists who've killed, dozens of people. And what Trump said during his speech to Arafat after they met, they did that little speech.
Yep.
That peace can never take root in an environment where violence is tolerated, funded, and even rewarded.
Right. Yes.
That was a direct slap.
Well, that wasn't the only direct slap, and the Palestinians weren't the only recipients of that, because I noted with some amusement what Netanyahu said, which was that for the first time I see real hope for change. And
well,
I'm sorry, that
Netanyahu and Rivlin were smacking around Obama the whole time. I mean,
it wasn't
Rivlin
subtle.
started as soon as he said America is back.
It wasn't subtle.
No,
let me just say it wasn't subtle.
Last night, when I started writing this, I took a look at some of the pictures of when Obama finally made it to Israel. Now, if you remember, Obama's first trip to the Middle East, he went to Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and then home.
Right.
He flew over Israel.
Right.
And he finally made it to Israel in 2013, which was the first year of his second term.
Was that his first time in Israel?
Noticed,
I guess it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
What?
That was his first time in Israel, was 2013?
His first time as president.
Wow, okay.
He went to Israel in the summer between the convention
I got what
and
you
the
meant.
election.
I got what you meant. No, and that was my question. Was that the first time as president? I guess I hadn't.
Yes.
I guess I thought he'd gone there prior to that, but wow, that's something else.
It's a big campaign issue.
Yeah.
Okay? But the interesting thing is, if you look at the pictures, and I couldn't reproduce them because they were all Getty, but if you look at the pictures, no one was smiling. Obama had the look like, oh my God, I have to be here. And Netanyahu had the look that, how like when one relative you hate comes over for like Easter dinner,
Yeah.
and you have to welcome them?
Yeah.
That's what Netanyahu's look was.
Yeah. I remember that.
And if you look at Bibi and Rivlin yesterday, they had these wide shit-eating grins on their face. It was they liked the guy, and that's why I think that Trump's keeps saying that he's going to try to make peace. I think that Trump has a better chance than anybody in a long time.
Okay, so I mean, that's kind of the point of my post, is that Trump is saying, "Look, I've talked to the Palestinians; they're ready to reach out for peace." I mean,
they're not, but okay.
No, they're not. And
I agree with you.
And look, I mean, I would be happy if they would be ready. I mean, that's what I want. I want there to be peace. I want there to be a settlement there, so it's one less problem spot in the world, and so that all of the
a settlement, meaning a peace settlement, not another housing unit.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Well,
I guess I should be careful about saying settlement, but yes.
Do you know that in March 2010, God's honest truth, Obama sent Joe Biden to go yell at Bibi because they built bathrooms in an existing settlement.
Yeah. No, I remember that. So look, I would love to see the Palestinians accept the fact that Israel's going to be there and it's going to stay put, and that they have their own state next to Israel for their own purposes, and they have their own self-determination, I'd be happy with that. But the Palestinians have never been happy with that idea. And
I'll give you 3 reasons why it's more possible now than ever.
Okay. I'm skeptical. You got to convince me.
I'm not saying, look, I'm not putting my kids' tuition on betting on it, okay?
Yep.
I'm just saying more possible than ever.
All right.
Number one, there was an editorial, an op-ed in one of the Saudi papers, okay? And now all the Saudi papers are run by the kingdom.
Right. It's just like, China or anything else like that. Yeah.
Or the New York Times run by the Democrats. Same thing.
I wouldn't go that far. Don't assign that one to me, okay?
But
go
what it
on.
said was, you know what? The Palestinians had so many chances to make peace, and they blew every single one of them. It's time they sat down and made the compromises and made peace. Okay?
Okay.
So that's coming from Saudi Arabia.
All right, hang on.
Saudi Arabia.
Hang on. I got to put up my official vote on that one. You're not seeing this, Jeff, but I just wrote down on my notepad, not buying it.
Fine. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
Here's the second one. Okay. Peace could never happen when Barack Obama was president, because Bibi Netanyahu didn't like or trust Obama.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay. I just got to get some water. So he's not going to. He didn't trust that Obama had his back.
Right.
Okay. He saw how Obama acted with the Iranian negotiations.
Right.
His UN ambassador, his UN ambassador once made a big speech about how they should make a peace deal and excuse me, and shove it down Israel's throat.
Right.
Okay? So you put all that together, Bibi wasn't going to listen to Obama.
Right. Yes.
He trusts Trump.
Yes. I think that's true. Yes. I'll buy that
good
one.
Friend.
I'll buy that one.
Okay. And their wives, you see the wives get along?
Which wives? Are you talking about Abbas's wife?
No, Trump's wife and Bibi's wife.
Yeah, but I mean, they look, the Israelis.
They're all friends. No, but they've been friendly ever since she got married.
I know that, but I mean, the issue here isn't. The issue here really isn't the Israelis. The Israelis, for the most part.
I understand that. Now comes my third thing.
Okay.
Trump is the art of the deal. He is one of the world's best negotiators, deal makers.
Okay. That and 10 cents, Betty.
He has the president. Wait a second. The Saudis really want peace because they really want to have a relationship with Israel now.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Although I would be more impressed by their motives if they actually let Jewish people come into the country. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah,
maybe.
But you know what? If you go to Saudi Arabia and you're wearing a cross, you can't get in either.
I know. I'm not just talking about that. These are people who are fairly xenophobic. Okay, and
yes, but that's not the point. The point is that do you remember the line from Fiddler? May God bless and preserve and keep the Tsar
far away from us. Yes, great line.
Okay. Trump's big thing to the Saudis was, look, let's all fight the bad guys, and I don't care how you live. And you know something? Israel feels the same way. You don't want to let Jews in? Fine. They'll come. Yes. But Saudis like technology. Saudis like the Israeli military to help them against Iran. Okay. Saudis want peace in the region. So do the Egyptians, who now like us again because Obama's gone.
Right.
And so does the diminutive king of Jordan, who liked us the whole time.
Yes.
Because he's short like Kim Jong-un.
Okay.
You know, with all the people that Korean guy kills, why doesn't he kill his barber? Think about it.
I don't know that he has a barber. I think he just puts a bowl in his head, and he's got somebody around there to cut everything that sticks out.
I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I think, look, and I say this with the caveat is I wouldn't put $5 down on it. But I do think that there's more possibility than before. And you got to remember, during the Clinton administration, what's his name? Arafat was given everything he wanted, or 98% of what he wanted, and turned it down. During what's his name? Olmert, Lord Comeover, same thing. And even with Kerry and Indyk, Bibi came pretty close to that, and even offered making East Jerusalem an international city.
Yes.
And they turned it down.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And then Indyk, you know, this is what I don't. This shows you what the American negotiators did, because Bibi went far further than Jerusalem. He would have been killed if he pushed that through. And then Indyk, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish religion, where we're supposed to atone for our sins, atone for the bad things we say about other people, except for bloggers, because we'd be around all day. But he got up at his shul and gave a sermon where he ripped Israel. This was the chief negotiator of the United States during the Obama administration.
I remember this, yes.
So that's why at least there's an error of good feeling happening there.
Jeff,
you got to grant me.
I will grant you that much. I'm not sure anything's going to come of it, but I'll grant you that much. We got to wrap up, Jeff.
Okay, just one thing.
Yeah.
When I started off by saying that I wanted to rip Trump because of the embassy. And when he got on the tarmac again, one thing I didn't do is think about the embassy. I thought, oh my God, what a great visit.
Yeah, it was a really good visit. It was very good. I thought, with
and
one
I'll tell
exception.
You something totally interesting.
Okay.
This is trivia. He was in Israel approximately 28 hours.
Okay.
He was with Abbas approximately an hour. So he was in the Jewish state of Israel for 27 hours,
right,
which is the length every week the Jews observe the Sabbath. So it was almost like Trump spent a Sabbath in Israel.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That's interesting. All right. It's good. That's a good thing to know.
You know, I always find the weird Jewish things.
You always do. That's the reason why we like having you on here, Jeff. Come on.
And when I don't, I find a Christian thing and check it out with you.
Well, we check things out with each other to make sure we get things
You
right.
never told me before the last time I asked you that there's another Luke who wasn't in Star Wars. I'm quoting Luke, and I'm writing, Eddie, is this from Star Wars?
Nope. It was a different Luke. It was a different Luke.
That's what you told me.
Well, you know,
it was a Jewish Luke.
That's what that's what I'm here for, man. I'm here as a resource for you. You know that.
I know that, you know, and to tell you that now that we're done, I'm going to go back because I'm reading your book again, so I can plagiarize it.
There you go. Good. I hope it sells more than it did with me. All right, Jeff. I got to let you go.
Am I trying? Okay. I'll talk to you soon, Ed.
I got to go. Jeff Dunitz, lidblog.com. Thanks for being with us today, my friend.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
Jeff Dunitz has been my guest.